When Saturn entered Pisces, he initiated this process of awakening and separation. And separation is one of the characteristics of Saturn that are less talked about. But this is one of his main effects when he enters a house. The objective is to force the individual back into himself and to take control of his life and his will. So for example, if Saturn enters a relationship house, and there are many things there that you may be tolerant towards, patient or accepting, but maybe they are not necessarily in your best interest, Saturn may suddenly make you feel irritable, less tolerant, less patient, even aversive towards those characteristics or even people in your life, to the point that you will take control of the relationship and start making the decisions and the changes required in the relationship so that the relationship goes in a way that is more supportive and empowering of you. Or even, ultimately, there will be a separation from those relationships so that you can or spend some time on your own and getting to know yourself to gain back your power, or so that you can find those relationships that are more supportive of you. For example, if Saturn enters a house of values like the second house or the first house, a house of will, if you derive your will, if you derive your self-worth, your self-value from the opinions of other people, or even your finances from the support and contributions of other people, from the praise and the support of other people, Saturn may suddenly make you feel disappointed. So if you used to accept less than what you're worth, if you used to tolerate abuse, or you used to tolerate manipulation and control, Saturn will make you suddenly disappointed, very aversive, very intolerant, very angry at those people in those situations, to the point that you will end up separating yourself from these people, these organizations, these institutions, or you will just start relying on your will and your self-worth and your self-love more in yourself, because you will suddenly feel like whatever you are receiving from the outside is not good enough. So now Saturn is entered Pisces. What is Pisces? Pisces is the collective consciousness. Pisces is the subconscious mind. Pisces is where we have fantasies and illusions regarding our reality. Either these illusions are good things or nightmares. And Saturn entering this area will start this process of separation. And this process of separation may start with you becoming very disappointed, feeling let down, feeling like you have been lied or manipulated by your groups, by your institutions, by your family, by your loved ones, by your lover. Or if it is a house that has to do with duties, with tasks, like the sixth house, for example, or with career, like the house of work, you will suddenly start becoming very aversive if you are being exploited with unnecessary tasks. You will start becoming less tolerant to the pushy and abusive people. You will start becoming very depressed in that area in your life and not so patient, so tolerant. And this will force you back into yourself, will force you into finding ways to express yourself in that house, that Piscean house, in a meaningful way. And what Saturn will also make you is conscious of your fantasies, your lies and your illusions in that house, the ones you do to yourself and the ones that are done to yourself by others. This is why we have been having so much protesting, so much rebellion, because the awakened individual that knows and suddenly is conscious of how much he has been manipulated, controlled, and how much of his will has not been ever his own, will get angry, will get rebellious. And this anger will primarily be directed towards any object or entity of control. However, this is just at a superficial and mundane level. The most deeper type of separation that will be occurring is at an energetic and psychic level. Many of us, we are so enmeshed in our societies with other people's energies, with other people's needs and wants, that we are not able to actually distinguish what are our own thoughts and what are other people's thoughts, what are our needs and what are other people's needs. We're so enmeshed energetically with other people that we end up being influenced, hypnotized, and even hijacked by other people's will, needs, and wants. If those needs and wants are stronger or they are majority, we end up making decisions and choices, not being conscious that the decisions and choices that we are making, we would never maybe have chosen those things if we would not be in this tight group environment in which you are constantly being bombarded with other people's psychic needs and wants and thoughts. This happens because in today's modern societies, we live in these societies that are so crowded, and we're constantly screening our environment to make sure that we are safe, to make sure that we are in harmony with others, that we are not in danger. And by doing so, we have, not knowing, opened our mind and our psyche to connect with other people almost automatically. So we are receiving data, not just about people's behavior that we can see, but also their thoughts, their emotions, their needs. We are psychically an open door to receive other people's energies. And we are not, most of us are not aware of it. And most of us are not able to close that door, because if you're not aware that there is an open door, how are you going to close it? And when you become aware of it, what are the tools you can use if you never have been taught on how to build psychic barriers before, boundaries before? So this psychic awakening that some people, I'm not saying all people, but some people that are ready for this level of evolution are going to have, is suddenly becoming very aware of the psychic connection to others, becoming very aware of what are their own energy and what is not their own energy, what are their own thoughts and what are not their own thoughts. And this can be very unpleasant initially, because this individual may feel like he's waking up in an orgy party that he has not consent to. And he may not necessarily know what to do to get out from that party, or from stopping himself from being hijacked by other people's will. These individuals will need to embark on a journey of self-knowing, self-discovery, and engage into healing practices in order to cleanse the energy from other people's energies, in order to regain back control of their psychic boundaries, and in order to reinforce and strengthen their psychic boundaries. I can give some advices in order to amplify your energy and make your psychic boundaries stronger. One of the good methods that I have been using for a long time, and I advise you for a long time, because me, from my own experience, I had this psychic awakening 10 years ago when I was in my 30s. Now I'm 39, so it was slightly 10 years ago, and it was quite painful for me, this realization of how much of my own will and my own body, my own energy and my own thoughts were not my own, how much I was being a puppet. And I was panicking for a long time because I couldn't separate myself energetically, and I felt always like I was just in this pool of other people's psychic goom that I couldn't cleanse myself from. So I spent 10 years of my life going through classes, working with astrology, with meditation, with shamanic practices, in order to be able to build psychic boundaries and cleanse my psychic energy from other people, especially from my family. And I love my family, but I was being a puppet of my family, and I couldn't, I didn't know how to separate this deep bond that is family, but that was not the best for me in that type of connection. So one of the things that really helps is to activate your throat chakra, to activate your, how to say, I don't know if I'm saying it correct, but it's vagus or vagus nerve that is here. It is responsible from all your nervous system in your body. So how do you activate this nerve? Chanting is a very good way. Doing chants, any kind of singing, but especially shamanic chanting, is very helpful. Any type of public speaking, like the one I'm doing here on YouTube, is very helpful. Prayers, any type of prayers, positive affirmations can help you a lot, because these reinforce your energetic boundary. And once your energetic boundary is strong, it's less likely that other people's energies will invade your psychic boundaries. But above this, you also need to do a lot of cleansing of your energy, because initially, if you have never cleansed your energy, if you never did any meditation cleansing practices, you may be with layers and layers and layers of stuck energy that you have accumulated and received from other people along the way. So what can you do? You need to reconnect with your body. Yoga is amazing, but any type of exercise is also good if you're doing it in a conscious way with this objective. Yoga, meditation, any type of healing practices, any type of spiritual quests. The important thing is you reinforcing your energy and you cleansing yourself from other people's psychic home. But I will not extend further in this topic. Let's get back to the main topic, which is the change of the nodes into Pisces. However, besides this psychic awakening and you becoming painfully aware of what is your energy, what is other people's energy, what are your thoughts, other people's thoughts, and how you have been manipulated, there are more extreme cases. There are some of us that come into this life with spirits connected to us. This can be spirits of dead enemies, dead lovers, dead family, even ancestors. We always pray to the spirits of our ancestors, for the ones who like to pray, but the truth is that these connections are not always the most positive and most supportive of our paths. And these spirits, not all of them have our best interest in mind. There may be revengeful spirits that get from time to time attached to people and try to manipulate you and brainwash you to fulfill their own agenda, or just to hijack you from your best self. So you may suddenly become painfully aware of these spirits and these entities around you. And for these very unique people, this can be a very scary experience. What to do if you literally start finding out that you have been haunted and manipulated by spirits or even demonic entities for a long time? I also went through this experience. This was part of my awakening, unfortunately, and it took me 10 years to learn how to defend and protect myself against these entities. So I will not extend too much in what to say in this video. However, there are very good practitioners out there, healers, shamans that can help you. Me, mostly, I have found my methods on my own. My spiritual journey, I didn't have much support from others, and because I was with this Saturnian transit that made me constantly disappointed and feeling let down by the spiritual practitioners and spiritual leaders and astrologers in our field of work. So I had to do my own journey, because that was the only way it was working for me and the only way I felt strong and empowered. Maybe one day I make a video for you, or even a course teaching you my own methods and my own journey on how I did that. But for those people, I still advise you to try to reach out to others. If you do not feel like that is supportive for you, there are a lot of books you can read. You do not necessarily need to speak with someone, but definitely having a spiritual or religious practice and saying prayers of protection, that initially may help a lot and may start giving you a chance to fight back against these forces. In the most unfortunate effects of this transit may be those people that completely lose the will to live, because they suddenly become painfully aware of how their entire life has been nothing but a puppet show. And this is why we also have been having a lot of suicides, a lot of people killing themselves in the most horrific ways that we see in the media, because these people suddenly realize that they have been a puppet, they have lost their will, they don't know how to separate themselves, they don't know how to regain back control. And this is ultimately the only way they can show that their will is their own, by taking their own life. This is how they regain their power back. It's not an advisable way, of course, And I feel like these people just didn't have nobody to help, or didn't try to look for methods in order to help themselves, or maybe the things they experienced and manipulation they experienced was so profound and horrific that was difficult to live with. And now with activation that we also have with Chiron, that pain becomes so much pronounced, especially for those people who really went through horrific things. So I do understand that for some people it may be difficult to continue living when whatever experiences you had have been very traumatizing. There is a particular group of people, especially people with heavy Saturnian transits in this area of Pisces, that probably have been separated from the collective consciousness from some time and have been going through the process of disillusionment, maybe their whole entire life. For these people, the awakening process and separation of Saturn is not from the collective, it's from themselves, because they have built such a strong defenses and they have trapped themselves into a state of isolation and separation, that every time they interact with others, everything they can see is the projection of their worst nightmares. And they continuously go through a process of re-traumatizing themselves and feeling like they are a victim. So Saturn, for this particular group of people, what he will do is making them suddenly become aware on how they themselves have been contributing, have been the main agent in their own undoing. How they themselves have created problems, conflicts, traumatic situations for themselves, with their own fears, with their own projections. And the individual with seeing that will be able to take back the responsibility for their own life and for the consequences in their own life. And once the individual is able to take responsibility for his own actions, take responsibility for the consequences, negative consequences that he has subconsciously created in his life, he will be able to regain back the power and the control, and he will stop being hijacked and manipulated by his own subconscious fears, traumas, and woundings. However, unfortunately, it's not everybody who will have positive manifestations. There are those of us that will forever see this transit as a confusing and a messy time in their lives, in which they did everything to just put themselves back to sleep. And this calls attention to some of the bad habits of Pisces. Besides the suicide aspect that is possible, that I have already mentioned, there is also the people who use drugs, alcohol, sex as coping mechanism, because these individuals are not trying to regain back control and see reality and making changes. These people are trying to put themselves back underwater because they want to live in an illusion state, not in the real world. And they will do everything to get themselves back into that illusionary state, even using drugs or any kind of other addictive behavior. So for these people, there probably will not be any evolution. When the nodes shift into Pisces, my prediction is what will happen is that this mirror of illusion will be removed out of our faces, and we will be able to see reality clearly for what it is. We'll be able to see how we have been sabotaging ourselves. We'll be able to see how others have been sabotaging and controlling us. We will be able to see if there are entities from other worlds who are controlling us. If we are being manipulated and by enmeshment with other people's energies and psychic needs and wants. We will be able to see all of these aspects and characteristics, and we will be able to start looking and searching for those methods that work for us in order for us to regain back our autonomy and back the power and control of our will. One of the most beautiful effects of this removing of the shade of this mirror from our faces is that we will be able to start actually seeing other people in an objective and realistic way. We will be able to start seeing ourselves in others. We will be able to start seeing our pain in others and see other people's struggles and be able to empathize with it. And we will feel suddenly this new connection to the collective, that it doesn't come from a subconscious, manipulative, hypnotic way. It comes from a conscious way of you actually seeing reality and seeing how much of yourself is in others, how much we share in our struggle, in our pain. And maybe you even may decide to get involved and help other people in a conscious way, not in an unconscious way, how the way many of us have been doing until now, just being sacrificed or victimized without our consent, or manipulated and brainwashed without our consent. No, it will start being a conscious thing. It will start being from a place in which you have pulled back, regain your power, you have reconnected with yourself, you know now your mind is your own, you know who you are, and you start seeing reality and the suffering and the struggle of the world and other people, and you are able to consciously make the decision to reconnect back with the collective and to help others, to lend a hand to others. And you may start feeling this strong feeling of every time you help other people, every time you assist other people in this conscious way, that suddenly you will feel your own burden alleviated a little bit, and you feel this good energy coming back to you. Not this Saturnian heavy energy, but this energy of reward. And this leads us to one of the most beautiful concepts of Pisces, which is redemption through sacrifice. And when people speak about sacrifice, it comes with these negative connotations. Like, we always think about sacrifice as a person being weak, or is something that is being done without person's consent. And this has been with the illusion that we have been having in this area of Pisces. However, sacrifice is not just that. Sacrifice is, for example, the angels who dedicate the entire essence and existence in helping us, humanity. So if the soul decides to consciously sacrifice themselves for a cause, for other people, for a group, in a conscious way, this soul will itself feel redeemed through sharing themselves with others in a willing way. The soul will feel this feeling of redemption and reconnection back to the collective, but this time in a free will way, in a conscious way. So this is why it is said, know thyself and then give thyself. So this is it for this update, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it supports you in your journey. Take care of yourself. Much love.